Good morning. This is Bill Sullivan with Denodo. I have responsibility for the United States federal business here at Denodo, and it is my privilege to welcome Dave Nelson. Dave is currently the Chief Information Officer and Chief Data Officer at the Nuclear Regulatory Commission. Dave, first and foremost, thank you for joining us and welcome this morning.
Yeah, thank you, Bill. I'm looking forward to this. This is exciting. Thank you.
How do you think your technology partners or industry can best support your as you advance, you're at 50% now for cloud, assuming you're continuing that direction. And who knows? I mean, we've both been around long enough, starting with mainframes, client server, the internet, now the cloud. There will be something else in as much as the cloud is, the latest and greatest. Um, how do you see technology supporting you, and how do they best play a role in their transformation efforts?
I think it's I think it's really by getting to know, working with us as more of a partner. The real problems are that we're trying to resolve. And I think the most of the federal agency vendor community kind of gets that now.
Yeah.
I think they spend that kind of time trying to understand um, the real problems, and then they can make those same decisions, right? Should we
Yeah.
continue to spend time trying to reach out to NRC to sell our ABC widget, or is that time not better spent doing something else, because they know what kind of problems we're trying to solve, and whether they have the right tools for that, and then they can partner with us. And then we've got partners that have done that with us, and they piloted in I'm sure this is done across a lot of different vendors, but they'll partner with us and do a pilot, and just see if
Yeah.
show us how it works.
Sure.
And that really helps.
That'll work in your environment for your specific problem securely
Yeah,
at scale. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
I've seen that's one of the things we're seeing with a lot of the early AI technologies. The cloud makes it possible for folks to, test out something in an AWS AI uh, using data from their Microsoft or Google cloud,
mhm.
right? They use Denodo to affect that kind of a data virtualization for operation, or just for POCs, what have you. So it's an interesting play. Um, any with the time we do have, any final recommendations or tips that you'd like to share with any of the other enterprise chief data officers or CIOs that might be listening in?
Yeah, I've already said it a number of times. It's really about understanding the real challenges that the mission you're supporting has, and that's not easy. It's not necessarily just on you to tell yourself, I need to understand that. You have to have those conversations, and you have to probe, and you have to really work with those mission leaders on identifying what we're trying to accomplish, and then coming to alignment on that before you start down the path of defining, or actually solutioning it, or implementing something. So um, that's the most important thing I think you can do as a chief data officer or a chief information officer.
That is one of the challenges of working in the federal space, whether you're on the commercial side or working for government, and there is only one CMS. There is only one NRC, right? There's hundreds of manufacturers. You could be a manufacturing CIO. You can be a banking CIO. There's hundreds of those options. There's only one NRC. They only do it one thing, hopefully really well. And learning how to do it well is a gift. You bring extraordinary experience and skill to that, and for that, I'm grateful just as a taxpayer, but also given the existential nature of what the NRC does. Having folks like yourself with a firm hand on the tiller is appreciated. So, any
Yeah.
other thoughts you'd like to share with our listeners and our viewers?
Well, I didn't get into or talk at all about the importance of human-centered design, which is just really close to my heart.
Please go
Um,
right ahead. We have time.
I think it's so important when you do start down that path. We've really started to build our agile approach to development of our solutions, really working with with the mission and business partners all the way through the solution, and being able to quickly adapt and change and improve those solutions that you're building for your support it's just really important. So if you don't have a customer experience program out there, if you're not really focused on that, that is really important. And it will make a huge difference in the quality of the support that you're providing, and really build credibility for your organization.
Both the reality of the quality of the support you're providing, as well as the perception of the quality of the support you're providing, right? People,
That's
first
right.
they have to know how much you care before they care how much you know. You might be the smartest CIO in the world, but if you don't understand what the mission is and how to support it, your chances of being successful are less, right?
Yeah, one other thing, Bill, that I hadn't mentioned too, and we didn't really get into analytics all that much, but I think it's really important to build a strong program around your analytics. We've provided the tool sets enterprise wide for access to very, very powerful analytic tools. But those can be misused. and really the whole purpose of having analytics and having your data and having those kinds of tools is to help you with your data-driven decisions and making the right decisions for the organization.
Well, let's pull that thread just a little bit. So you have a program, you have a group of folks that are designed to analyze what's out there and how it might apply to your environment. And do they have a testing regimen? Tell me a
Yeah,
little bit about that.
yeah, thank you. We have the enterprise licenses, so, and we provide, that access to those and training on the tools. But what we've done is we've spent a lot of time on really defining, excuse me, the role of the data analyst, the business analyst, and the data scientist, making sure that we're not loosely using those terms around there, and how and what those capabilities that they should have are. We have a sort of a center of expertise for data analytics, where we do develop a lot of the sort of dashboards and tools that the executives use for decision making. And that happens, actually, that's supported by my office, but that happens in one of the mission offices. They sort of
No kidding.
facilitate that. But through that center of excellence, you got to make sure that everybody's getting the same training, everybody's using the same standards. You start to think about, peer reviewing the different products that are coming out of there, because you don't want that data misused, intentionally or not intentionally, to drive decisions. So it's important to keep a focus on that. We're not at the point yet where we've got the magic recipe for that. We're continuing to sort of innovate and try to do more in that area to make sure that we're really, really getting the right analytic products out of that. And I think there's some federal agents, and we keep talking to them, that have really invested in this, and they're reaping huge benefits from it. And you can just see the data products they're putting
So
out.
it's an ongoing process where a group of people are tasked with just kind of looking what's out there and, okay, does this work for us? And how do we pull it in? And how do we put it into our data architecture? And how do we make sure it scales securely?
Exactly.
Yeah. And folks that actually, probably people that both know the business mission really, really well, but also the technology.
Yep. That's right. Well, or how to use the technology.
Yeah. Or at least
that's a pet peeve of mine. My wife will say she knows technology better than I do, because she'll flip around on her iPhone and be able to do things that I really don't care about. But
you don't disagree with her, do you?
So it's like, well, see, I know technology better than you, Mr. CIO. So
Exactly.
it's like, okay, whatever. But it is how you adapt and how you use technology, and it's the same thing with data. the data analysts need to be able to use it correctly and create the right products that they don't necessarily need to understand the underlying technology itself.
Right.
That's where my organization comes in and make sure that they're getting the support they need.
Well, that's terrific. Yeah. And again, given your experience, so you can see the importance of that. And you started out the discussion with the whole issue of human factors and you know, maybe non-technical backgrounds and how to apply that in the technical world. So it comes to the fore here, especially with the market changing so fast. The technology just, the AI market is like your front yard is filled with mushrooms after one night. There's a whole crop of new ones. Which ones would work for us? And
Yeah, and everybody has access now to Chat GPT, right? So
yeah,
how do you
yeah,
govern that, right?
exactly, exactly. Well, I have thoroughly enjoyed this, and I thank you for the time. On behalf of CDO Magazine, we both thank you for your time and your insights. Mostly, I thank you for, as I say, a firm hand on the tiller at what is a critically important element of government. I guess anybody can get in touch with you via the NRC website for any follow-up questions.
Sure.
But thank you, Dave. It's a
Yeah,
pleasure, and I hope you have a great week.
it's been a pleasure. Thank you, Bill. I appreciate the opportunity to share some thoughts.
Thank you, sir.
Take care now.
Take care.